Yeah, that's interesting because sharing writing, sharing experience has boosted their confidence. Well, it's exactly the same thing that was happening with these teachers in this workshop. I just share one more story because this is a teacher from India. Her name is Babita Hapila. That was Gulnaz. Okay, I haven't got a picture of Babita. She teaches in a government lower primary school in Assam, in India. And it's in a small village in the Mahasar district in Assam. And it's the village of my own community, that means the Dimasa tribe. Now she has an interesting, different kind of difficult circumstance. When I first joined the school 1 year ago, the school had only one teacher. We had classes from nursery to class 5 of about 9 to 15 students in each class. So it's not a large class, but my students, she had to teach all of these classes all at once, all of the students all at once. But my students of class 3, 4 and 5 could not read even the most simple words. I was thinking, how could I be able to teach reading properly to these classes when I had to take 3 classes together at the same time every day? I was also told to take all the subjects like mathematics, Hindi, mother tongue, etc. So it was very heavy for me to deal with all the subjects every day at the same periods in these 3 classes. And she's part of the British Council's teacher training project in Assam. And she said, I followed a reading activity which I had learned from the British Council in making the students learn and read a poem. It worked very well with all the classes. It involved reading rhyme poems. So after teaching a poem, after I made the students understand the difficult words and the meaning, I write the poem on the board. Then I divide the class into 2 groups. I make these 2 groups read the lines alternately. I have to help them pronouncing the words, but after reading it 3 or 4 times, they can read them well. Then I start rubbing out the 2 words at a time, and I make them continue reading. And this way, the 2 words were rubbed out each time they finish reading until all the words are rubbed out. And I've seen that students learned the poem in a very short time. So this and some other activities that she learned from the British Council training programme mean that I'm really happy that my students can read the text properly, at least the simple words. And even they try by themselves to read the long syllable words. They often come to ask for storybooks nowadays to read. So yes, this idea came from outside. I'm not saying today that all ideas have to just be generated locally. You know, teachers, we always do learn things from outside. But the important thing, from the British Council in this case, but the important thing here is that it's something that she has tried out and that she is now sharing with other teachers, and that works and it's successful for her. Teachers had already learned a lot from one another and formed a community of sharing. I think the experience of for me anyway, of encouraging them to think about doing action research was more positive than it might otherwise have been, because we put them into groups of shared issues that they had already expressed. And we asked them to write posters together as a group of issues that they were confronting, that they hadn't found solutions to. Posters. And after we made these, we asked them to really clarify their questions. What are your questions? What do you want to find out on the posters? We then asked, and we also asked them, well, what have you heard so far from other teachers here which could help you with your issues? But also we asked teachers to go around and on post-its write their own name if they thought they had some help to give to that group, if they had, from their experience, they could give some kind of solution to that group. That proved to be very successful. In other words, the next day, a lot of what the teachers were doing was interviewing one another, asking for solutions from one another as the first step in a kind of action research sort of exploration. Then the last day, or the day before last, they gave presentations. This is Joya, also from Assam, giving a presentation about ideas that they had learned from one another so far. Now she also faced, in the group, she faced the problem that Babita had of teaching students, not necessarily a very, very large group, but the big problem was they were all ages from nursery up to the end of primary in the same class. From talking to others in the group, they developed a new idea, which was a kind of onion ring idea. So one circle inside of students, of younger students, one circle outside of older students, and the older students would be teaching the younger students. And they thought, well, maybe having the older students teach the younger students inside would actually help the older students to consolidate their own knowledge. Well, that's an idea. They're now trying it out, and they're going to report back to the whole group. But I think what happened in the group was for me, that they, because of that initial focus on their own successes, it developed their confidence, and they said that, and their confidence in their own knowledge, but also their confidence that others in the group would have knowledge which they could access and which would be as valuable as any ideas that I or Amal could bring to them.